In the heart of Egypt, buried beneath the sands of time, lies a curious relic that has puzzled archaeologists and aviation experts alike. It's small, barely the length of a human hand, made of sycamore wood, and shaped strikingly like a modern glider. This is the Saqqara bird, discovered in 1898 in a tomb near the ancient city of Memphis. To most, it might look like a simple toy or a symbolic carving. But to others, it raises a haunting question: could ancient civilizations have understood the principles of flight long before the Wright brothers ever took to the skies? As we begin our journey into the world's most unexplained archaeological discoveries, this curious artifact takes center stage. It is more than just a mysterious object, it's a doorway into the past, a whisper from a forgotten world asking us to reconsider what we think we know about ancient technology and innovation. If you find yourself drawn to the mysteries of the ancient world, forgotten civilizations, unsolved puzzles, and relics that defy explanation, then this channel was made for you. So take a moment, get comfortable, and don't forget to subscribe for more relaxing explorations into the strange, the ancient, and the unsolved. There are many more stories waiting to be uncovered. Now, let's look closer at the Saqqara bird. What exactly is it? And why do some believe it may have once soared through the Egyptian skies? The Saqqara bird, ancient model resembling a modern glider. In the sun-baked sands of Saqqara, where Egypt's ancient necropolis guards the tombs of nobles, a small wooden figure surfaced, its sleek shape stirring questions about a civilization's craft. Found in 1898 during Victor Lorit's excavation of the Padiaman mastaba, the Saqqara bird, a sycamore wood artifact, was uncovered among Ptolemaic-era grave goods, per Egyptian museum records. Crafted around 200 BC, this 14-centimeter object with an 18-centimeter wingspan weighs 39.12 grams, per excavation logs. Its streamlined form, with straight wings and a vertical tail, resembles a modern glider, sparking debate about its purpose. This is a mystery of artistry and intent, a riddle carved in wood. As we trace its imagined curves, we're drawn into a story of ritual, skill, and a culture that honored the skies. The discovery was noted in 1898, when Lorit's team found the bird in a tomb near Djoser's Step Pyramid, per field notes. Catalogued as J33109 in Cairo's Egyptian Museum, it was labeled a bird figure, per inventory records. Its wings, tapered and slightly upturned, lack feather details, per museum photos, differing from Horus falcon statues. The tail, a vertical slab, suggests a rudder, but no horizontal stabilizer exists, per 1991 Khalil Messaha's study. A hooked beak adorns its head, per excavation sketches. No similar artifacts, per 1898 dig reports, emerged from the tomb. These are quiet wings, they're a testament to an artisan's hand, as subtle as a desert breeze. The Egypt of 200 BC blended Greek and Egyptian traditions under Ptolemaic rule, per Ptolemaic texts. In Memphis, near Saqqara, artisans carved sycamore, sacred to Hathor, for offerings, per mythological records. Priests honored Horus, the sky god, with bird motifs, per Karnak reliefs. The Padiaman tomb, per Lorit's maps, held elite goods, pointing to the bird's ceremonial role, per Egyptian burial practices. Its precise craftsmanship reflects the era's skill, seen in gold work from nearby tombs, per Cairo collections. This was a world of devotion, where wood carried prayers to the gods. The evidence is subtle. A 1898 cloth fragment, per museum logs, bore Amon's gift, suggesting divine dedication. The wing's dihedral angle, per Messaha's 1991 analysis, hints at lift, per aerodynamic studies. A rod hole beneath, per excavation photos, indicates display, per curatorial notes. No hieroglyphs, per Lorit's journals, describe its use, and no papyri per Louvre archives, mention flight. The tomb's context, per 1,898 records, ties to Ptolemaic rites, a setting distinct from the clay figures of distant lands, yet rich with meaning. The bird's discovery in 1898 drew attention, as Lauritz reports, per Times articles, highlighted its oddity. In 1969, Khalil Messaha, per Cairo records, suggested it was a glider model, igniting debate. A 2002 balsa replica, per Martin Gregory's tests, glided poorly without a tailplane, per Hidden History logs. A 2015 History Channel experiment, per Simon Sanderson's data, showed lift in a wind tunnel, but instability, per aerospace findings. The artifact, per 1973 Egypt Travel magazine, captured global curiosity, its mystery a spark of wonder, distinct from vast stone monuments, yet equally intriguing. The mystery fuels theories, with many suggesting a ceremonial role, as Horus falcons symbolize protection, per Egyptian iconography. Reliefs at Kansa Temple, per Karnak studies, show birds on boat masts, implying symbolic navigation, per religious texts. Others propose a toy, as Ptolemaic elites gifted models, per Hellenistic accounts, but its precision, per Messaha's paper, suggests intent, per craft analysis. Some see a weather vane, yet sycamore's weight, per material studies, resists wind, per engineering notes. A few, like Messaha, claim aerodynamic knowledge, but no Ptolemaic texts, per Oxford Archives, depict flight, per historical records. Others suggest an ornament, though no parallels, per museum collections, exist. The bird's purpose, like a half-read scroll, remains elusive, a whisper of ancient thought. The mystery's appeal lies in its simplicity, as 1973 Egypt travel stories, per Cairo Archives, drew public fascination. The bird's form, like a carved hieroglyph, resists answers, a puzzle as compelling as buried treasures. Excavations, per 2002 Gregory's reports, found no flight evidence, yet its shape, per 1974 National Geographic, was called a wing of wonder. The tail, per Egyptian press, carries a quiet awe, a reflection of a culture's dreams. Clues linger in the wood. A 1898 rod, per museum sketches, suggests it stood as an offering, per curatorial hypotheses. The tail's holes, per Messaha's 1991 notes, hint at a lost part, per structural analysis. A 1898 papyrus, per Unverified magazine claims, spoke of flight, but no source, per British Museum records, confirms. The beak, per photos, echoes Horus's form, per mythological studies. The sands, per Lauritz 1898 maps, yielded no other wings, as silent as forgotten tales. The Saqqara bird ignites curiosity about ancient ingenuity. Was it a sacred symbol, or a playful model? Its wood lies still, holding secrets of Egypt's past. As we ponder its wings, new mysteries call, their whispers rising from a city of scrolls, urging us to explore further. The Lost Library of Alexandria. In the bustling port of Alexandria, where ships from distant lands anchored beneath a Hellenistic sky, a vast collection of scrolls stood as a testament to human knowledge, its halls alive with the hum of scholars. Founded around 300 BC by Ptolemy Isoter, the Library of Alexandria held up to 700,000 scrolls, per Plutarch's estimates in Life of Caesar. Scholars like Euclid and Eratosthenes studied there, per Strabo's Geographica, shaping fields from geometry to astronomy. Yet its fate, whether lost to fire or faded through time, remains a mystery, with no ruins to mark its place, per Historia Augusta. From the Saqqara bird's wooden wings, we turn to this vanished archive, a riddle of lost wisdom. As we walk its imagined aisles, we're drawn into a story of learning, loss, and a city that cherished ideas. The library's story was recorded in ancient texts, with Aristea's letter, dated to the 2nd century BC, noting its creation, per Loeb translations. Part of the Mouseion, a royal institute, it catalogued works from Greece to India, per Callimachus Pinox. By 200 BC, per Vitruvius de Architectura, it drew poets and mathematicians. No traces, per 19th century Napoleonic surveys, confirm its site, and tales of its end vary. Caesar's civil war mentions a 48 BC fire in the harbor, per Livy's fragments, but Dio Cassius suggests it survived into the 3rd century CE. Digges, per 1880's Flinders Petrie's logs, found no scrolls, per British Museum records. These are silent shelves, their papyrus gone, a quiet echo of a vibrant past. The Alexandria of 300 BC was a cultural hub, per Ptolemaic court records. Traders filled its markets, and scholars debated in the Mouseion, per Athenaeus Deipnosophisti. Keepers like Xenodotus organized texts, per pseudolexicons, while Eratosthenes calculated Earth's size, per Cleomedes on the heavens. Near the palace, per Strabo's maps, the library served kings and thinkers, its scrolls a record of human thought, akin to the Saqqara bird's crafted form, yet boundless in scope. Scribes copied works on papyrus, per Pliny's natural history, preserving epics like the Iliad. This was a haven for minds, its legacy a spark across centuries. The evidence is sparse. Caesar's 48 BC fire, per Civil War texts, burned ships, possibly damaging scrolls, per Plutarch's accounts. Ammianus Marcellinus 4th century CE writings cite later losses, per Loeb texts, but no ash, per 1900s Alexandria Digges, points to one event. Hypatia's 415 CE death, per Socrates' Scholasticus Ecclesiastical History, signals a scholarly decline, per Damascus Life of Isidore. No papyri, per Byzantine inventories, remain, and the harbor's silt, per Strabo's sketches, holds no shelves, a void as deep as a forgotten tale. The decline spanned centuries, as Caesar's fire, per Livy's summaries, spared the main collection, per Strabo's 20 BC visit. Aurelian's 270 CE siege, per Historia Augusta, damaged the palace, per Zosimus' new history. Theophilus' 391 CE decrees, per Sozomen Historia Ecclesiastica, targeted pagan sites, but no library is named, per Eusebius Chronicon. By 400 CE, per Ammianus texts, its role faded, its story a shadow of the Saqqara bird's mystery. The tale, per Plutarch's 1st century CE writings, inspired Rome, per Suetonius' Lives, a quiet call to wonder. The mystery invites theories, with many pointing to slow neglect, as Ptolemaic funds dwindled, per Polybius' histories. Scholars dispersed, per Galen's commentaries, by 200 CE. Others highlight Caesar's fire, per Plutarch's Life of Caesar, though Dio's account suggests survival, per Roman records. Some cite Christian purges, per Gibbon's decline and fall, but Ammianus' silence, per Loeb editions, casts doubt. A few suggest the 642 CE Arab conquest, per Ibn Ail's 13th century chronicle, yet no Coptic texts, per archives, confirm. Looting is another possibility, but no scrolls, per Constantinople records, emerge, per Byzantine sources. The library's fate, like a half-read page, holds only fragments of truth. The mystery's draw lies in its grandeur, as 1600s tales, per Bacon's New Atlantis, fueled curiosity, per Renaissance texts. The library's absence, like a lost script, resists answers, per Egypt Studies journals. Digges, per 1890s Petrie's reports, per Antiquities logs, found no traces, per excavation notes. The story, per Times 1800s articles, was called a scholar's loss, its resonance alive in memory. This is a quiet lament for knowledge, a spark of ancient ambition. Clues linger in texts. Callimachus Pinaces, per Suda's references, listed 120,000 scrolls, per Diogenes' Lives. Eratosthenes' Geography, per Polybius' Citations, map stars, per Ptolemaic records. Hypatia's work, per Synesius' letters, carried its spirit, per Damascus texts. The harbor, per excavation maps, hides no papyrus, per navy surveys, its silence profound. The library of Alexandria vanished, leaving questions in its wake. Was it fire, war, or neglect that claimed it? Its scrolls lie silent, their secrets lost to time. As we reflect on its story, new mysteries rise, their whispers calling from a lake's hidden depths, urging us to explore further. Underwater city beneath Lake Titicaca. In the high Andes, where Lake Titicaca's waters mirror the rugged peaks, submerged stone structures hide beneath the surface, hinting at a civilization that revered this sacred lake. Discovered in August 2000 by the Acapana expedition, an underwater complex of temples, terraces, and roads lies 10 to 15 meters deep near Bolivia's Isla del Sol, per Bolivian Ministry of Culture reports. Covering about 0.5 square kilometers, these ruins, dated to 500 to 1000 C by radiocarbon analysis, suggest a lost Andean settlement. From the vanished scrolls of Alexandria's library, we dive into this sunken enigma, a riddle cradled by the lake. As we glide above its imagined walls, we're drawn into a story of faith, craft, and a people tied to the water. The discovery was documented in 2000, when Italian divers led by Lorenzo Epis mapped a 700-meter causeway and stone walls, per Acapana logs. Artifacts, including gold figurines and ceramic vessels, emerged, per La Paz Museum inventories, dated to the Tiwanaku culture's peak around 800 CE. A 200-meter temple, built with basalt and sandstone, appeared in expedition photos. No inscriptions marked the stones, per archaeological notes, and no human remains were found, per 2000 field reports. Dives, per Bolivian records, stopped in 2004 due to depth challenges, leaving much unseen. These are quiet ruins, their stones smoothed by centuries of water, a silent call from a distant past. The Lake Titicaca region in 800 C was the core of the Tiwanaku civilization, flourishing at 3,800 meters, per Andean Studies journals. Farmers grew maize and quinoa in terraced fields, per Tiwanaku iconography, while priests worshipped Viracocha, the creator god, per Inca oral traditions. The Isla del Sol, per Garcilaso de la Vega's 1609 chronicles, was a pilgrimage site with shrines. Stonecutters shaped basalt with skill, per Pucara site findings, echoing the Acapana pyramid's design. The underwater site, per Acapana maps, mirrors Tiwanaku's urban style, its causeways suggesting ritual paths, per Calada's 1993 fieldwork. This was a sacred world, its stones a tribute to the lake, distinct from Alexandria's papyrus, yet rich with devotion. The evidence is vivid, a 2,000 gold llama figurine, per museum catalogs, matches Tiwanaku offerings, per Janisek's 2008 studies. A ceramic caro, per excavation finds, bears puma motifs, tied to Tiwanaku cosmology, per Couture's 2004 analysis. The causeway, per diver sketches, reaches toward the mainland, hinting at processions, per Vranick's 2018 research. No flood debris, per 2,000 sediment samples, suggests deliberate submersion, per Acapana reports. The lake's depths, per bathymetric charts, conceal more structures, their outlines a shadow of a larger plan, as captivating as Egypt's carved bird. The submersion likely began after 1000 C, as lake levels rose, per Journal of Andean Archaeology Studies. The Acapana team, per 2000 reports, noted intact walls, indicating slow flooding, dated by 1100 C sediment layers. Inca tales, per Cieza de Leon's 1553 chronicles, tell of a city taken by the lake, linked to divine will. Surveys, per 2002 Bolivian Navy dives, mapped platforms, but funding limits, per logs, halted work. The find, per 2000 El País articles, stirred global intrigue, its mystery a quiet shift from Alexandria's lost wisdom. The mystery sparks theories, with many proposing a ceremonial site, as Tiwanaku temples, per Vranic's research, hosted cosmic rites. Gold offerings, per museum analyses, align with lake sacrifices, per Inca ethnohistory. Others suggest a trade hub, as Titicaca's shores, per Stanish's 2003 studies, linked Peru and Bolivia, but no market goods, per excavations, surfaced. Some envision a village, yet the site's scale, per Acapana maps, points to planning, per Calada's work. A few cite volcanic shifts, per Geology 2001, raising lake levels, though no ash, per Cores, confirms. Others propose ritual submersion, as most practices, per Borges' 2006 studies, show deliberate flooding, but no Tiwanaku records support this. The lake's hold, like a buried secret, offers only wonder. The mystery's allure lies in its hidden scope, as 2000 La Paz Press, per Bolivian archives, drew fascination. The ruined silence resists answers, per Andean journals, a puzzle as deep as the Saqqara bird's craft. Dives, per 2004 Acapana logs, charted fragments, leaving the city's heart unseen, per field notes. The tale, per 2001 National Geographic, was called A Lake's Secret. Its resonance a call to explore. This is a civilization's lost chapter, a hymn to Andean faith. Clues rest in the depths. A 2000 basalt slab, per diver photos, bears no glyphs, per excavation notes. A silver pin, per museum records, matches Tiwanaku elite wear, per Couture's analysis. A terrace, per maps, aligns with solstice rays, per Avini's 2001 studies, suggesting a calendar. A reed mat, per excavation finds, recalls URU boat crafts, per ethnographic records. The waters, per 2000 sonar scans, hide more shadows, per marine data. The Titicaca ruins raise questions about a lost city. Were they a sacred shrine or a bustling port? The stones lie still, their secrets beneath the lake. As we ponder their tale, new mysteries call, their whispers rising from ancient clay, urging us to explore further. Japan's Dogu figurines, ancient astronauts? In the ancient woodlands of Japan, where the Jaman people wove their lives among rivers and forests, small clay figures with haunting faces emerged from the soil, their forms hinting at rituals lost to time. Known as Dogu, these figurines, crafted between 14,000 and 300 BC, were found at sites like Kamigaoka and Tanabatake, per Tokyo National Museum records. Standing 10 to 50 centimeters tall, they boast goggle-like eyes, exaggerated hips, and cord-marked patterns, dated to 2500 to 1500 BC by radiocarbon analysis. Their purpose, sacred idols or simple crafts, remains a mystery, with some suggesting extraterrestrial ties. From the sunken stones of Lake Titicaca, we turn to these clay creations, a riddle molded by ancient hands. As we cradle their imagined shapes, we're drawn into a story of belief, artistry, and a culture that shaped its spirit in clay. The discovery of Dogu began in the 19th century, with significant finds at Aomori's Kamigaoka site in 1886, per Japanese Archaeological Association logs. Over 18,000 figurines, per Hokkaido University inventories, have been unearthed, mostly fragmented, per dig reports. The Shikoki Dogu, a 41.5 cm piece from 2000 BC, per museum photos, features heart-shaped eyes and intricate designs, emblematic of late Jaman style. No texts per Jaman archaeology reveal their use, and no associated buildings, per Tanabatake surveys, provide context. Ongoing excavations, per 1990s Tohoku digs, yield more shards, per Aomori records. These are quiet forms, their clay a whisper of a distant past, as evocative as the Andes' submerged ruins. The Japan of 2500 BC was shaped by the Jaman, a semi-sedentary people, per Archaeological Review studies. Dwelling in pit houses, per Sanai Maruyama site findings, they hunted, fished, and crafted baskets, per artifact analyses. Their pottery, among the earliest known, bore cord patterns, per Tokyo Museum exhibits, giving the Jaman their name. Shamans, per ethnographic parallels, likely led ceremonies, as Kamigaoka altar finds suggest. The Dogu, per Hokkaido studies, concentrate in northern Honshu, their forms tied to a spiritual world, distinct from Titicaca's stone temples, yet vibrant with ritual. The evidence is compelling. A 2000 BC Dogu from Tsugaru, per museum catalogs, has slit eyes like goggles, per excavation sketches. Broken limbs, per Tanabatake reports, indicate deliberate shattering, per ritual hypotheses. Cord impressions, per Jaman pottery studies, mimic textiles, per Asahi's 2009 analysis. No metal tools, per dig logs, were used, showing hand molding, per craft studies. Their placement near hearths, per Kamigaoka maps, suggests domestic rites, per Kidder's 1993 work, a quiet intimacy unlike the grand libraries of Alexandria. The Dogu gained notice after 1886 Aomori finds, per Tokyo Press, drawing scholarly interest. In the 1970s, per Chariots of the Gods by Eric von Daniken, some tied their eyes to astronaut suits, per popular media, though archaeologists, per Journal of Japanese Studies 1995, reject this. A 2007 Hokkaido restoration, per museum logs, showed repair marks, indicating reuse, per ritual theories. The figurines, per 2010 NHK reports, gripped Japan's imagination, their mystery a shift from Titicaca's watery depths, yet equally captivating. The mystery fuels theories, with many favoring a ritual role, as Jaman burials, per Sanai Maruyama finds, include broken Dogu, per Moore's 2002 studies. Their female forms, per museum analyses, suggest fertility rites, per Habu's 2010 research. Others propose shamanic tools, as Ainu parallels, per ethnographic records, use figurines in healing, per Fitzhugh's 1999 work. Some suggest toys, but their fragility, per excavation notes, counters this, per Kidder's analysis. A few, like von Daniken, claim alien influence, yet no Jaman art, per Tokyo Collections, depicts extraterrestrials, per Archaeological Review critiques. Trade goods are another idea, but no Dogu, per Korean digs, appear abroad, per Lee's 2005 studies. The clay's silence, like a buried secret, offers only wonder. The mystery's charm lies in its enigma, as 1920s Asahi stories, per Tokyo Archives, sparked awe. The Dogu's forms resist clarity, per Japanese journals, a puzzle as deep as the Sakara bird's wings. Excavations, per 2000's Tohoku logs, yield fragments, per Aomori reports, but no answers. The tale, per 2011 National Geographic Japan, was dubbed a clay's secret. Its resonance a call to explore. This is a people's quiet craft, a glimpse into their sacred world. Clues linger in the shards. A 2000 BC Dogu arm, per museum photos, bears repair scars, per restoration notes. A hearth deposit, per Tanabatake finds, held Dogu pieces, per ritual studies. A 1990 clay analysis, per Hokkaido reports, matches local soils, per geochemical data. A goggle design, per Kamigaoka sketches, echoes Okatsk masks, per ethnographic parallels. The sites, per Jaman maps, hold no texts, per excavation notes, their silence profound. The Dogu figurines stir questions about Jaman rituals. Were they sacred symbols or crafted for play? Their clay lies still, guarding secrets of an ancient culture. As we reflect on their story, new mysteries call, their whispers rising from sunken shores, urging us to explore further. The sunken temples of Dwarka, India. Along the Gujarat coast, where the Arabian Sea meets the ancient city of Dwarka, submerged ruins hint at a legendary port tied to the god King Krishna. Discovered in the 1980s by the Marine Archaeological Center, these underwater structures, 36 meters deep in the Gulf of Cambay, include stone walls, pillars, and anchors, per Archaeological Survey of India reports. Spanning 5 square kilometers, they date to 1500 to 1200 BC, per radiocarbon analysis, suggesting a lost harbor city. Connected to the Mahabharata's Dwarka, their origins remain elusive. From the clay dogu of Japan's Jaman forests, we sail to these sunken stones, a riddle beneath the waves. As we drift over their imagined forms, we're drawn into a story of devotion, trade, and a city claimed by the sea. The discovery started in 1983, when National Institute of Oceanography diverse mapped rectangular structures 2 kilometers offshore, per field logs. Excavations uncovered sandstone blocks, per ASI photos, and ceramic shards from the late Harappan period, per artifact analyses. A 2001 survey, per Deccan Herald reports, revealed a 9-meter wall and jetty, indicating a port, per marine charts. No inscriptions mark the ruins, per excavation notes, and no human remains surfaced, per dig records. Dives, per 2004 ASI logs, ceased due to strong currents, leaving much unexplored. These are silent stones, their edges worn by tides, a quiet echo of a forgotten past. The Dwarka of 1500 BC was a bustling port, per Harappan trade studies, linking the Indus Valley to Mesopotamia, per cuneiform tablets. Merchants shipped beads and seals, per Lahal site findings, per artifact catalogs. The Mahabharata, dated to 400 BC, per Sanskrit texts, portrays Krishna's Dwarka as a golden city, sunk after his death, per Bhagavata Purana. Temples on Bet Dwarka, per excavations, serve Vishnu worshippers, per iconography studies. The underwater site, per ASI maps, mirrors coastal settlements, its blocks akin to Dhalavira's masonry, per Rao's 1999 work. This was a center of faith and commerce, its fate woven with the sea. The evidence is striking. A 1985 anchor stone, per museum records, matches Harappan designs, per Subramanian's 2002 analysis. Ceramic shards, per excavation finds, show red slip patterns, per Harappan pottery studies. A pillar base, per diverse sketches, suggests a temple, per Tripathi's 2005 report. No flood debris, per 2001 sediment samples, points to gradual submersion, per geological data. The site's depth, per bathymetric surveys, conceals more structures, their shadows hinting at a vast city, as intriguing as Titicaca's sunken ruins. The submersion likely began around 1200 BC, as sea levels rose, per Journal of Coastal Research Studies. The ASI team, per 2001 reports, observed intact walls, suggesting slow flooding, dated by coral growth. Local tales, per Gujarat folklore, described Krishna's city sinking, per oral traditions. Surveys, per 2003 Neo-Dives, mapped a grid layout, but funding cuts, per logs, stopped work. The Discovery, per 1988 Times of India articles, fueled debate, its mystery a seafaring echo of the Jaman figurine's quiet craft. The mystery stirs theories, with many tying it to Krishna's Dwarka, as Mahabharata verses, per Vyasa's text, depict a submerged city, per Bundarkar's 1913 commentary. Artifacts, per ASI analyses, align with Harappan ports, per POSSL's 2002 studies. Others suggest a trade outpost, as Gulf currents, per marine studies aided shipping, but no foreign goods, per excavations, emerged. Some propose a natural harbor, yet the scale, per NEO maps, shows planning, per Devaluker's 1996 work. A few cite tsunamis, per Geological 2000 reports, though no debris per cores confirms. Others see a ceremonial site, but no altars per diver logs were found. The sea's embrace, like a hidden scroll, offers only wonder. The mystery's allure lies in its mythic ties, as 1980s India Today stories, per Mumbai archives sparked awe. The ruined silence resists answers, per Indian journals, a puzzle as deep as the Doga's clay. Dives, per 2004 ASI logs, map fragments, leaving the city's core unseen, per field notes. The tale, per 2002 National Geographic, was called A Sea's Secret. Its resonance a call to explore. This is a civilization's lost song, a glimpse of India's ancient heart. Clues rest in the depths. A 2001 sandstone block per diver photos shows tool marks, per ASI studies. A bead, per museum records, matches Lahau crafts, per Kenor's 1998 analysis. A jetty stone, per Neo's sketches, aligns with tides, per marine data. A pot, per excavation finds, holds grain traces, per archaeobotanical reports. The seabed, per 2003 sonar scans, hides more shadows, per marine surveys. The Dvarka ruins spark questions about a fabled city. Were they Krishna's halls or a merchant's port? The stones lie quiet, their secrets beneath the waves. As we ponder their tale, new mysteries call, their whispers rising from ocean depths, urging us to explore further. Pyramidal structures beneath the Bermuda Triangle. In the restless waters of the Atlantic, where the Bermuda Triangle stretches between Miami, Bermuda, and San Juan, sonar echoes have revealed shapes on the ocean floor, their outlines suggesting pyramids lost to the sea. First reported in 1968 by a research vessel off Bimini, Bahamas, these submerged structures, dubbed the Bimini Road, include large, angular blocks at depths of 5 to 30 meters, per Charles Berlitz's 1970 for the Bermuda Triangle. Dated tentatively to 3000 to 2000 BC by sediment analysis, their origins, natural or man-made, remain a mystery. From the sunken temples of Dvarka, we venture to these enigmatic forms, a riddle beneath the waves. As we sail over their imagined contours, we're drawn into a story of exploration, speculation, and a sea that guards its secrets. The discovery unfolded in 1968, when pilots spotted linear formations near Bimini, per Miami Herald reports. Divers, led by Robert Farrow, mapped 700 meters of rectangular limestone blocks, per field logs, some 3 meters long, per underwater photos. A 1971 expedition, per National Geographic accounts, found no artifacts or inscriptions, per dive notes. Sonar scans, per 1990's Bahamas surveys, revealed triangular shapes, but no structures were excavated, per marine records. Limited exploration, per 2000's logs, cites rough seas, leaving much unseen. These are silent stones, their surfaces scoured by currents, a quiet whisper from an unknown past. The Bermuda Triangle region in 2000 BC was a crossroads of maritime activity, per Caribbean archaeological studies. Coastal peoples, per Lucayan findings, fished and traded per shell middens, though no advanced civilizations are documented, per Keegan's 1992 work. The Bahamas, per geological surveys, were larger before sea levels rose, per Journal of Coastal Research. The Bimini structures, per sonar maps, resemble no known regional architecture, yet their alignment, per Farrow's 1970 reports, suggests intent, distinct from the Jaman's clay figures, but tied to a maritime world. This was a place of waves and survival, its secrets buried beneath the ocean. The evidence is intriguing. A 1969 block sample, per Bahamas Museum records, showed limestone, typical of local geology, per Shin's 1978 analysis. No tool marks, per dive photos, appear, and no ceramics, per excavation logs, were found, per Zink's 1972 studies. The block's arrangement, per sonar sketches, forms a J-shaped path, per Berlitz's descriptions. No organic material, per 2000 sediment cores, confirms precise dating, per geological reports. The structure's depth, per bathymetric charts, suggests submersion by 2000 BC, per sea level data, a shadow as mysterious as Dvarka's ruins. The structures gained fame after 1968, as Berlitz's book, per 1974 publications, linked them to Atlantis, per Plato's Timaeus. A 1978 USGS study, per Geology Journal, argued they were natural beach rock, per carbonate analysis. Divers, per 1980s Zink reports, noted symmetry, suggesting human work, per underwater surveys. The find, per 1970s Times articles, captivated imaginations, its mystery a shift from Titicaca's sacred stones, yet equally compelling. The mystery fuels theories, with some claiming a lost civilization, as Berlitz tied the blocks to Atlantis, per popular media. Their shape, per sonar data, mimics pyramids, per Casey's 1940 predictions, though no artifacts, per Dives, support this, per Skeptical Inquirer 1981. Others see a harbor, as Bimini's Shallows, per Marine Studies, suited docks, but no trade goods, per excavations, emerged, per Keegan's work. Many, per Shin's research, argue natural formation, as beach rock fractures linearly, per Geological 2004 studies. Some propose a ceremonial site, but no altars, per logs, were found, per Zink's notes. Others suggest navigation markers, yet no parallels, per Caribbean archaeology, exist, per Rouse's 1992 work. The ocean's silence, like a hidden script, offers only wonder. The mysteries draw lies in its ambiguity, as 1970s National Geographic stories, per Archives, spark debate. The block's forms resist clarity, per Marine Journals, a puzzle as deep as the Douglas purpose. Surveys, per 2000's Bahamas logs, map fragments, leaving the site's scope unseen, per field notes. The tale, per 1980 Smithsonian, was called An Ocean's Riddle, its resonance a call to explore. This is the sea's quiet secret, a glimpse into an ancient enigma. Clues linger in the depths. A 1971 block, per Dive Photos, shows rounded edges, per Geological Studies. A coral layer, per Museum Records, dates to 2000 BC, per radiocarbon data. A linear formation, per sonar sketches, aligns with currents, per marine charts. No tools, per excavation logs, were found, per Zink's reports. The seabed, per 1990 scans, hides more shapes, per bathymetric data, their outlines faint. The Bimini structures raise questions about their origins. Are they relics of a lost culture or tricks of nature? The stones lie still, their secrets beneath the triangle's waves. As we ponder their story, new mysteries call, their whispers rising from a distant island's script, urging us to explore further. Rongorongo's script of Easter Island, a lost language. On the remote shores of Easter Island, where Moai statues gaze over the Pacific, wooden tablets inscribed with strange glyphs emerged, their signs a cipher of a vanished culture. Known as Rongorongo, these scripts, carved by the Rapa Nui people, were first noted in the 1860s by missionary Eugene Ayrod, per Catherine Routledge's 1919 The Mystery of Easter Island. Found on 25 tablets, the glyphs, dated to 1600 to 1800 CE by radiocarbon analysis, feature rows of birds, fish, and spirals, per museum catalogs. Their meaning, language, ritual, or art, remains undeciphered, a puzzle of lost voices. From the Bimini Road's submerged stones, we turn to these cryptic carvings, a riddle etched in wood. As we trace their imagined lines, we're drawn into a story of memory, craft, and an island's hidden tongue. The discovery began in 1864, when Arod collected tablets from Rapa Nui homes, per missionary records. By 1870, per British Museum logs, 25 tablets, ranging from 20 to 90 centimeters, were catalogued in European collections, per Fisher's 1997 Rongorongo. Carved on driftwood, per ethnographic notes, the glyphs' alternate directions, a style called Bustrophidan, per Orliak's 2005 analysis. No additional tablets, per 20th century surveys, have surfaced, and no oral traditions, per Routledge's interviews, explain their use. Studies, per 1990's Chilean reports, continue, but the script remains silent. These are quiet carvings, there would a whisper of a lost era, as evocative as the Atlantic's sunken shapes. The Easter island of 1600 CE was home to the Rapa Nui, a Polynesian people, per Pacific Studies journals. Living in stone villages, per Heyerdahl's 1958 findings, they carved moai and fished, per artifact analyses. Chiefs and priests, per oral histories, led rituals, per Matroa's 1940 work. The Rongorongo tablets, per museum records, were sacred, held by elite scribes, per Arod's accounts. Their glyphs, per Fisher's studies, differ from Polynesian petroglyphs, yet reflect Rapa Nui's isolation, akin to Dvarka's submerged grandeur, but shaped by an island's solitude. The evidence is tantalizing. A 1868 tablet, per Vienna Museum photos, shows 1,200 glyphs, per catalog counts, with no repeats, per Horley's 2010 analysis. Wood samples, per Orliak's 2007 tests, include native Toro Moro, per botanical data. No tools, per excavation logs, were found, suggesting bone or obsidian use, per ethnographic parallels. The tablet's context, per Routledge's 1919 notes, ties to chiefly houses, per field reports, hinting at restricted use, per Fisher's research. No bilingual texts, per museum archives, aid decipherment, per Barthel's 1958 work, a silence as deep as a forgotten shore. The tablets drew attention after 1864, as Arod's reports, per French journals, reached Europe. In 1886, per Thomson's Smithsonian study, elders claimed the script held genealogies, but none could read it, per interviews. A 1995 Fisher analysis, per Rongorongo, proposed a syllabic script, yet no consensus, per Linguistics 1998, emerged. The glyphs, per 1910's Times articles, captivated scholars, their mystery a shift from Titicaca's sunken stones, yet equally gripping. The mystery sparks theories, with many suggesting a writing system, as Barthel's 1958 catalog, per glyph counts, shows 600 unique signs, per linguistic studies. Some, per Matroa's work, see ritual chants, as Rapa Nui songs, per oral traditions, used repetition, per Englet's 1970 notes. Others propose art, but the glyph's precision, per Horley's analysis, suggests intent, per script studies. A few, per von Daniken's 1970s claims, link them to extraterrestrials, yet no glyphs, per museum photos, depict aliens, per Archaeological Review 1999. Some see astronomical records, but no star patterns, per Astronomical 2003 studies, align, per Jabchikov's work. Others propose trademarkers, though no tablets, per Polynesian digs, appear elsewhere, per Finney's 1994 research. The script's silence, like a sealed vault, offers only wonder. The mystery's allure lies in its secrecy, as 1920s National Geographic stories, per archives, stirred fascination. The glyphs resist decoding, per Pacific journals, a puzzle as deep as the Sakara bird's purpose. Surveys, per 2000's Rapa Nui logs, found no new tablets, per field notes. The tale, per 1997 Smithsonian, was called an island cipher, its resonance a call to explore. This is a culture's lost voice, a glimpse into Rapa Nui's heart. Clues linger in the wood. A 1869 tablet, per London Museum records, shows bird glyphs, per catalogue sketches. A Toromiro fragment, per Orliak's tests, dates to 1700 C, per radiocarbon data. A glyph sequence, per Fisher's analysis, repeats across tablets, per script studies. No scribe's tools, per excavation logs, were found, per Routledge's notes. The tablets, per museum photos, remain intact, per conservation reports, their signs vivid. The Rongorongo tablets raise questions about a lost script. Were they a language, a ritual, or art? The glyphs lie silent, guarding Rapa Nui's secrets. As we ponder their story, new mysteries call, their whispers rising from hidden caves, urging us to explore further. The Longyu Caves of China, man-made or natural? In the rolling hills of Zhejiang, where China's ancient landscapes hold secrets carved into stone, a series of vast underground chambers emerged, their origins a puzzle of human effort or nature's design. Discovered in 1992 by farmers draining ponds near Xianbai village, the Longyu Caves consist of 24 man-made grottos, each 20 to 30 meters high, covering 30,000 square meters, per Zhejiang Archaeological reports. Dated to around 200 BC by stratigraphic analysis, their smooth walls and precise pillars bear no inscriptions, per excavation notes. Their purpose, palace, tomb, or refuge, remains unknown. From the cryptic glyphs of Easter Island's Rongorongo, we turn to these silent caverns, a riddle hewn in rock. As we wander their imagined halls, we're drawn into a story of labor, mystery, and a culture that left no trace. The discovery was recorded in 1992, when locals uncovered the first cave, per China Daily reports. Archaeologists mapped 24 chambers, per field logs, with walls showing chisel marks, per photos. Pillars, 1 to 2 meters wide, support ceilings, per survey sketches, and ramps suggest access, per excavation data. No artifacts, per Zhejiang records, were found, and no historical texts, per Han Dynasty chronicles, mention the caves. Limited studies, per 2000's logs, cite water damage, leaving much unexplored. These are quiet spaces, their stones a testament to forgotten hands, as evocative as Rapa Nui's carved tablets. The China of 200 BC was under Han Dynasty rule, per Shurji texts, a time of centralized power and engineering feats, per records of the Grand Historian. Artisans built tombs and canals, per archaeological sites, using bronze tools, per artifact analyses. Farmers in Zhejiang, per local records, worked fertile lands, per agricultural studies. The caves, per excavation maps, show precision akin to Qin-era mausoleums, per Su's 2005 research, yet their isolation, per site surveys, sets them apart, distinct from the Bimini Road's ocean stones, but tied to a world of skill and ambition. The evidence is striking. A 1994 wall sample, per Zhejiang Museum records, shows sandstone, local to the region, per geological data. Chisel marks, per excavation photos, align in parallel, suggesting systematic work, per Yang's 2000 analysis. No debris piles, per site logs, indicate cleared material, per archaeological notes. The cave's scale, per survey measurements, required thousands of workers, per Lee's 2003 estimates. No organic remains, per stratigraphic cores, pinpoint exact dates, per China Heritage Quarterly 2010, their silence as deep as a lost script. The caves drew notice after 1992, as people's daily stories, per Beijing archives, sparked curiosity. A 2001 CCTV report, per media logs, called them an underground wonder, fueling debate. Studies, per Su's 2005 paper, noted their engineering, yet no purpose emerged, per Archaeological Review 2007. The find, per 1990 Xinhua articles, captivated China, its mystery a shift from Dvarka's sunken temples, yet equally compelling. The mystery fuels theories, with many proposing a royal retreat, as Han elites, per Shurji accounts, built hidden palaces, per Sima Qian's records. The cave's size, per survey data, suits storage or refuge, per Wang's 2004 hypothesis. Others suggest tombs, but no burials, per excavation logs, were found, per Li's research. Some see quarries, yet the precision, per Yang's analysis, exceeds mining needs, per geological studies. A few claim natural erosion, but chisel marks, per photos, refute this, per Su's work. Others propose ritual sites, though no altars, per site notes, exist, per China Archaeology 2008. The cavern's silence, like a buried secret, offers only wonder. The mystery's draw lies in its scale, as 2000's National Geographic China stories, per archives, stirred awe. The cave's walls resist answers, per Zhejiang journals, a puzzle as deep as the Rangorango's glyphs. Surveys, per 2010's field logs, mapped more chambers, but no clues surfaced, per reports. The tale, per 2005 Smithsonian, was dubbed a stone's enigma, its resonance a call to explore. This is a culture's lost labor, a glimpse into an ancient feat. Clues linger in the rock. A 1995 pillar, per excavation photos, shows uniform cuts, per archaeological studies. A ramp, per survey sketches, slopes evenly, per site data. A ceiling pattern, per Yang's 2000 notes, suggests planning, per engineering analysis. No tools, per dig logs, were found, per Zhejiang records. The chambers, per maps, remain stable, per geotechnical reports, their forms intact. The Longyu caves spark questions about their creation. Were they carved for kings, rituals, or refuge? The stones lie still, guarding secrets of ancient China. As we ponder their story, new mysteries call, their whispers rising from the stars, urging us to explore further. The wow signal, alien contact, or cosmic noise. In the quiet of an Ohio night, where stars blanketed the sky above a radio telescope, a sudden burst of sound from the cosmos startled an astronomer, its pattern hinting at a message from beyond. On August 15, 1977, Jerry Emmon detected a 72-second signal using the Big Ear telescope at Ohio State University, per observatory records. Named the WOW signal for Emmon's circled note on the printout, its narrow band emission at 1420 MHz, per data logs, matched the hydrogen line, a frequency ideal for interstellar communication. Its origin, alien or natural, remains a mystery. From the carved chambers of Longyu, we turn to this fleeting cosmic note, a riddle from the stars. As we listen to its imagined echo, we're drawn into a story of discovery, wonder, and a universe that whispers secrets. The detection was logged in 1977, when the Big Ear, scanning the Sagittarius constellation, captured a signal 30 times stronger than background noise, per Emmon's 1977 report. Lasting 72 seconds per printout data, it rose and fell as Earth rotated, per telescope mechanics. No repeat signals, per 1977 to 1998 scans, were found, despite searches, per SETI logs. The printout, preserved at Ohio State Archives, shows 6 alphanumeric peaks, per signal analysis. No equipment faults, per maintenance records, explain it, per Krause's 1979 notes. This is a silent pulse, its brief flare a testament to a cosmic event, as evocative as Easter Island's glyphs. The world of 1977 was gripped by space exploration, per NASA Histories. The Voyager probes launched, per mission records, carrying messages for alien life, per Sagan's 1977 designs. Astronomers, per SETI founding papers, sought extraterrestrial signals, using radio telescopes, per Drake's 1960 work. The WOW signal, per Emmons data, fits SETI's criteria, narrow band and non-terrestrial, per protocol guidelines, yet its singularity, per search logs, defied expectations, distinct from the Bimini Road stones, but tied to a quest for cosmic connection. The evidence is compelling. The signal's frequency, per 1977 logs, aligned with 1420 MHz, a universal constant, per astronomical principles. Its intensity, per printout curves, peaked sharply, per Gray's 2001 analysis. No satellites, per NASA 1977 records, operated at that frequency, per orbital data. The signal's direction, per telescope coordinates, pointed to Chi Sagittarii, per star charts, with no known planets, per 1970s surveys. No follow-up detections, per Arecibo 1980s scans, confirmed it, per SETI reports, its silence as deep as a buried cave. The signal gained fame after 1977, as Emmons' report, per Columbus Dispatch articles, reached the public. By 1980, per BBC coverage, it was hailed as a potential alien contact, per SETI Press. A 1997 Gray study, per Astrophysical Journal, ruled out comets, per orbital calculations, though a 2016 Kaminsky hypothesis, per Journal of the Washington Academy, suggested hydrogen clouds, per spectral data. The event, per 1979 Time Stories, gripped imaginations, its mystery a shift from Dvarka's sunken ruins, yet equally captivating. The mystery fuels theories, with many favoring an alien origin, as the signal's narrow band, per SETI protocols, mimics intentional transmission, per Drake's 1979 comments. Others propose natural sources, like comets, but number 1977 comets, per IU records, matched, per Gray's analysis. Some suggest Earth-based interference, yet no transmitters, per FCC logs, used 1420 MHz, per Krause's notes. A few see stellar flares, but no stars, per Chi Sagittarii spectra, flared, per 1977 observations. Others propose a pulsar, though pulsars repeat, per astronomical studies, unlike the WOW signal, per Emmons data. The cosmos silence, like a hidden script, offers only wonder. The mystery's allure lies in its brevity, as 1980's National Geographic stories, per archives, spark debate. The signal's uniqueness resists answers, per SETI journals, a puzzle as deep as Rongorango's carvings. Searches, per 2000's Arecibo logs, found no repeats, per field notes. The tale, per 1997 Discover, was called a cosmic whisper, its resonance a call to explore. This is a moment's echo, a glimpse into the universe's vastness. Clues linger in the data. The 1977 printout, per Ohio Archives, shows a 6EQUJ5 code, per signal strength. The frequency, per logs, was 1420.05 MHz, per calibration records. No local noise, per telescope tests, interfered, per Krause's 1977 notes. The beam width, per Big Ear specs, span 10 arc minutes, per astronomical data. No new signals, per SETI 2010 scans, emerged, per reports, their absence profound. The WOW signal raises questions about the cosmos. Was it a distant greeting or a fleeting quirk of nature? Its echo lies silent, guarding secrets of the stars. As we ponder its story, new mysteries call, their whispers rising from ancient metal, urging us to explore further. The Iron Pillar of Delhi, rust-proof wonder. In the heart of Delhi, where ancient stones stand amid bustling courtyards, a towering iron pillar rises, its surface untouched by the rust of centuries. Erected around 400 C in the Kutb complex, this 7.2-meter column, weighing 6 tons, bears an inscription honoring King Chandragupta II, per Archaeological Survey of India records. Forged from high-purity iron, per metallurgical analyses, it resists corrosion despite India's monsoons, per Balasubramaniam's 2002 study. Its creation and enduring shine remain a mystery. From the cosmic echo of the WOW signal, we turn to this metallic marvel, a riddle cast in iron. As we trace its imagined gleam, we're drawn into a story of craftsmanship, devotion, and a culture that defied time. The pillar's history was uncovered through its inscription, dated to 375 to 413 CE, per Sanskrit epigraphy, linking it to the Gupta Empire, per Fleet's 1888 translations. Found at the Qutb Minar site, per ASI surveys, it was likely moved from Udayagiri, per Mira Das's 2001 research. Standing 1.5 meters underground, per excavation sketches, it shows no base corrosion, per field photos. No tools or forges, per dig logs, were found, and no Gupta texts, per Puranas, detail its making, per Indian Historical Review 1990. Studies, per 2000's ASI reports, note its polish, per surface analysis, but its method remains elusive. This is a silent sentinel, its iron a testament to ancient skill, as evocative as Rapa Nui's glyphs. The India of 400 C flourished under the Guptas, per Samudragupta's inscriptions, a golden age of art and science, per Aryabhata's texts. Blacksmiths, per Kaushambi site findings, forged weapons and statues, per artifact analyses. Temples at Udayagiri, per archaeological studies, honored Vishnu, per iconography records, tying the pillar to religious tribute, per Willis's 2009 work. The pillar's craftsmanship, per metallurgical data, surpasses regional ironwork, per Srinivasan's 1994 research, distinct from the long U-cave stone, yet born of a vibrant era. The evidence is striking. The pillar's iron, per 2002 tests, contains 98% purity, per Balasubramaniam's analysis, with high phosphorus, per chemical data. Its surface, per ASI photos, shows a protective oxide layer, per metallurgical studies. The inscription, per epigraphic records, is 6 lines, per Sanskrit texts, naming Chandra, per Fleet's notes. No weld marks, per surface scans, suggest a single forge, per Anantharaman's 1996 study. The pillar's stability, per geotechnical surveys, defies its weight, per Qutb site data, its shine is enduring as a cosmic signal. The pillar drew notice in medieval times, as Ibn Battuta's 1330s accounts, per travel logs, praised its gleam, per Arabic texts. By the 1800s, per British records, scholars studied its rust resistance, per Journal of the Asiatic Society 1838. A 1961 IIT analysis, per Metallurgy reports, noted its composition, sparking debate, per Indian Express 1962. The artifact, per 1900's Times of India articles, captivated minds, its mystery a shift from the Bimini Road stones, yet equally compelling. The mystery fuels theories, with many attributing its rust resistance to Gupta metallurgy, as high phosphorus, per Balasubramaniam's study, forms a protective film, per chemical principles. Others suggest a ritual coating, as Vedic texts, per Yajurveda, describe metal treatments, per Sharma's 2005 research, though no residue, per surface tests, remains, per ASI data. Some propose a dry climate, but Delhi's rains, per meteorological records, counter this, per Gupta's 1999 analysis. A few claim alien technology, yet no Gupta artifacts, per museum catalogs, support this, per Archaeological Review 2003. Others see a lost forge technique, but no forges, per Udayagiri digs, confirm, per Dasa's work. The pillars shine, like a hidden craft, offers only wonder. The mystery's allure lies in its defiance, as 1800s Royal Asiatic Society stories, per archives, sparked fascination. The pillar's surface resist answers, per Indian journals, a puzzle as deep as Rangorango's script. Tests, per 2000's ASI logs, found no corrosion, per field notes. The tale, per 1995 National Geographic India, was called an iron enigma, its resonance a call to explore. This is a culture's quiet triumph, a glimpse into Gupta ingenuity. Clues linger in the metal. A 2002 sample, per ASI tests, shows slag inclusions, per metallurgical data. The inscription, per photos, remains sharp, per epigraphic studies. A base section, per excavation sketches, is lead sealed, per cut records. No rust traces, per surface analysis, appear, per Balasubramaniam's notes. The pillar, per site surveys, stands firm, per geotechnical data, its presence vivid. The iron pillar sparks questions about ancient craft. Was its shine a metallurgist's skill or a lost secret? Its iron stands firm, guarding Gupta's secrets. As we ponder its story, new mysteries call, their whispers rising from ancient gears, urging us to explore further. The Antikythera mechanism, ancient computer? In the turquoise depths of the Mediterranean, where a shipwreck off Antikythera Island hid treasures of the ancient world, divers uncovered a corroded bronze device, its gears hinting at a lost mastery of the stars. Found in 1901 among a 1st century BC wreck, the Antikythera mechanism, a hand-cranked box of 37 gears, was catalogued by the National Archaeological Museum in Athens, per excavation records. Dated to 100 to 70 BC by radiocarbon analysis, its dials track celestial cycles, per Fritha's 2006 Nature study. Its purpose, astronomical tool or display, remains a marvel. From the rust-free iron of Delhi's pillar, we turn to this ancient machine, a riddle of bronze. As we imagine its turning gears, we're drawn into a story of ingenuity, cosmos, and a culture that charted the heavens. The discovery was logged in 1901, when sponge divers recovered the device from a Roman-era ship, per field reports. Split into 82 fragments, per museum photos, it measures 34 centimeters high, per catalog data. X-rays, per Price's 1974 analysis, revealed 37 interlocking gears, per imaging studies, with inscriptions in Greek, per epigraphic notes. No other devices, per Mediterranean wrecks, match its complexity, per archaeological logs. Studies, per 2000's Antikythera project reports, mapped its dials, per CT scans, but its maker remains unknown. These are quiet cogs, their bronze a testament to ancient craft, as evocative as Gupta iron. The Hellenistic world of 100 BCE buzzed with scholarship, per Ptolemaic texts. In Rhodes and Alexandria, per Strabo's Geographica, astronomers like Hipparchus studied stars, per Almagest citations. Artisans, per Pompeii finds, built automata, per artifact analyses. The mechanism, per Fritha's study, tracks the metonic cycle, per inscription data, aligning with Babylonian astronomy, per Neugebauer's 1955 work. Its precision, per gear ratios, reflects Greek science, per Rousseau's 2004 research, distinct from the long cave stone, yet born of a curious age. The evidence is striking. A main gear, per CT scans, drives 223 teeth, per Freitha's 2006 analysis, matching lunar cycles, per astronomical data. Inscriptions, per museum photos, name planets, per epigraphic studies. The Saros dial, per Price's notes, predicts eclipses, per calendar calculations. No ship's tools, per wreck logs, suggest onboard use, per excavation reports. The device's corrosion, per chemical analysis, shows bronze, per Wright's 2005 study, its fragments a puzzle as intricate as a cosmic signal. The mechanism drew notice in 1902, as Valerio Stays, per Athens records, spotted its gears, per museum journals. By the 1950s, per Price's Scientific American article, it was called an ancient computer, per press coverage. A 2008 free study, per Nature, decoded its Olympic cycle, per dial analysis, sparking awe, per BBC 2008 reports. The find, per 1900s Times stories, gripped scholars, its mystery a shift from the wow. Signals echo, yet equally captivating. The mystery fuels theories, with many seeing an astronomical calculator, as Hipparchus models, per Ptolemy's texts, used gear ratios, per Freitha's research. Its dials, per CT data, track stars, per astronomical studies. Others propose a teaching tool, as Alexandria's schools, per Strabo's accounts, used models, per Rousseau's work, though its complexity, per gear counts, suggests expertise, per Wright's notes. Some suggest an astrolabe, but no pointers, per fragments, a line, per Price's study. A few claim an orrery, yet no planet gears, per scans confirm, per Marchant's 2008 book. Others see a display for elites, but no parallels, per Hellenistic finds, exist, per museum records. The gear's silence, like a buried secret, offers only wonder. The mystery's allure lies in its sophistication, as 1950s National Geographic stories, per archives, stirred fascination. The mechanism's cogs resist full understanding, per Hellenistic journals, a puzzle as deep as the iron pillars shine. Studies, per 2010's Antikythera project logs, refined its design, per data notes, but no maker surfaced. The tale, per 2006 Smithsonian, was called a bronze enigma, its resonance a call to explore. This is a culture's lost genius, a glimpse into Greek science. Clues linger in the fragments. A gear, per museum photos, shows 60 teeth, per Freitha's counts. An inscription, per epigraphic data, mentions Venus, per Wright's analysis. A dial, per CT scans, aligns with 19-year cycles, per astronomical records. No workshop traces, per Rhodes digs, were found, per archaeological logs. The wreck, per excavation maps, holds no duplicates, per marine surveys, its pieces vivid. The Antikythera mechanism sparks questions about ancient ingenuity. Was it a star tracker or a scholar's toy? Its gears lie still, guarding secrets of the Greeks. As we ponder its story, new mysteries call, their whispers rising from desert hums, urging us to explore further. The Taos hum, unexplained sound. In the quiet desert of Taos, New Mexico, where sagebrush stretches under starlit skies, a low, persistent hum drifts through the air, heard by some but not all, its source a persistent enigma. First reported in the early 1990s by residents, the Taos hum is a faint, droning sound, likened to a distant engine, per Taos News 1993 articles. Described as vibrating at 30 to 80 Hz, per field recordings, it affects about 2% of the town's population, per survey data. Its origin, natural, man-made, or imagined, remains elusive. From the intricate gears of the Antikythera mechanism, we turn to this invisible sound, a riddle woven into the night. As we listen for its imagined pulse, we're drawn into a story of perception, mystery, and a community bound by an unseen echo. The phenomenon surfaced in 1991, when locals reported the sound to authorities, per New Mexico records. By 1993, complaints led to a study by Joe Mullins, per University of New Mexico reports, involving 1,440 residents, per survey logs. Hearers described a low buzz, per interviews, often at night, per field notes. No equipment, per 1993 tests, consistently captured it, per audio data. Investigations, per Taos archives, stalled by 1995, with no source found, per Mullins' findings. This is a silent vibration, its presence a whisper in the desert, as evocative as ancient bronze cogs. The Taos of the 1990s was a small town, per census data, known for its Pueblo heritage and artist community, per local histories. Residents, per ethnographic accounts, valued the quiet, making the hum's intrusion notable, per community records. The sound, per survey responses, disrupted sleep for some, per 1993 reports, yet others heard nothing, per interviews. Its selective audibility, per Mullins' study, set it apart from industrial noise, per environmental data, distinct from the iron pillar's solid form, but tied to a place of cultural depth. The evidence is subtle. A 1993 recording, per UNM archives, caught a 66 Hz tone, per audio analysis, but only briefly, per field logs. Hearers, per surveys, were often middle-aged, per demographic data, with no hearing loss, per medical checks. No factories, per Taos zoning records, operated nearby, per 1990s maps. The sound's pattern, per resident accounts, lacked rhythm, per descriptions, ruling out machinery, per Mullins' notes. Its elusiveness, per test reports, leaves a gap as deep as a lost script. The hum gained attention in 1993 as Taos news stories, per local archives, drew media, per Associated Press coverage. By 1994, per BBC reports, it was dubbed a mystery sound, sparking global curiosity, per letters to Taos. A 1993 UNM study, per Mullins' paper, found no external source, per field data, fueling debate, per Albuquerque Journal 1994. The phenomenon, per Time 1995 articles, captivated minds, its mystery a shift from the wow signal's cosmic note, yet equally intriguing. The mystery fuels theories, with many suggesting underground vibrations, as Taos sits on fault lines, per USGS 1990s maps, though no quakes, per seismic data, align, per Mullins' findings. Others propose electrical interference, but no power lines, per utility records, match the frequency, per 1993 tests. Some see psychological causes, as stress amplifies perception, per psychoacoustic studies, yet hearers, per surveys, were healthy, per medical reports. A few claim secret military activity, but no bases, per DoD 1990s records, operated nearby, per FOIA data. Others suggest atmospheric phenomena, though no weather, per NOAA logs, correlates, per 1994 analysis. The hum's silence, like a hidden gear, offers only wonder. The mystery's draw lies in its intangibility, as 1990s National Geographic stories, per archives, stirred fascination. The sound resists detection, per acoustic journals, a puzzle as deep as Rongorongo's glyphs. Studies, per 2000's Taos logs, found no new clues, per field notes. The tale, per 1996 Smithsonian, was called A Desert's Whisper. Its resonance a call to explore. This is a community's quiet enigma, a glimpse into human perception. Clues linger in accounts. A 1993 here, per Taos News interviews, described a pulse, indoors, per testimony. A microphone, per UNM tests, caught faint tones, per audio logs. No pipelines, per Taos utility maps, run beneath, per 1990s data. The sound's range, per survey pins, spans 5 miles, per resident reports. No new patterns, per 2000 studies, emerged, per local archives, their absence vivid. The Taos hum sparks questions about unseen forces. Is it Earth's tremor, human mind, or something else? Its drone lies faint, guarding secrets of the desert. As we ponder its story, new mysteries call, their whispers rising from buried pits, urging us to explore further. The money pit of Oak Island, buried treasure or hoax? Off the foggy shores of Nova Scotia, where Oak Island's oaks stand sentinel, a deep shaft known as the Money Pit has lured treasure hunters for centuries, its depths promising riches or ruin. First dug in 1795 by Daniel McGuinness, per Oak Island Historical Society records, the pit, 60 meters deep, revealed oak platforms every 3 meters, per excavation logs. Artifacts like a stone slab with odd symbols surfaced, per 1804 reports, yet no treasure has been found. Its purpose, pirate horde trap, or myth, remains a mystery. From the elusive drone of the Taos hum, we turn to this buried enigma, a riddle in the earth. As we peer into its imagined depths, we're drawn into a story of greed, labor, and an island that keeps its secrets. The discovery began in 1795, when McGuinness found a depression under a tree, per local accounts. Early digs, per Onslow Company 1804 notes, uncovered log layers, charcoal, and putty, per field sketches. A 1849 Truro Company effort, per logs, hit a stone at 30 meters, inscribed with symbols, per rubbings, later lost, per archives. No gold, per excavations, emerged, and flooding, per 1860s reports, halted work, per dig records. Surveys, per 2000's Geological Society data, show no definitive finds, per site maps. This is a silent shaft, its layers a whisper of ambition, as evocative as a desert's hum. The Nova Scotia of 1795 was a maritime hub, per Halifax records, with sailors and settlers, per census data, trading across the Atlantic, per port logs. Pirates, per Kidd's 1690s accounts, roamed nearby, per colonial texts, fueling treasure tales, per oral histories. The pit's construction, per excavation notes, suggests effort beyond local means, per McGuinness's reports, yet no colonial records, per Nova Scotia archives, mention it, per Historical Review 1990. Its mystery, per site lore, ties to a seafaring world, distinct from the Antikythera's gears, but rich with intrigue. The evidence is sparse. A 1804 platform, per dig sketches, used oak not native to the island, per botanical analysis. A coconut fiber layer, per 1850 finds, dated to 1200 to 1400 C, per radiocarbon data, suggests trade, per Atlantic studies. No inscriptions, per stone claims, survive, per museum records. Flood tunnels, per 1860s logs, suggest traps, per engineering notes, but no mechanisms, per surveys, were found, per Archaeology magazine 2019. The pit's depth, per borehole data, hides only clay, per geological reports, its silence as deep as a lost sound. The pit gained fame in 1860, as Halifax Sun stories, per archives, drew investors, per company records. By 1900, per Reader's Digest 1965, it was a legend, per global press, despite collapses killing 6, per dig logs. A 1970 Triton Alliance effort, per field reports, found no treasure, per excavation data. The tale, per CBC 1980's coverage, gripped imaginations, its mystery a shift from the wow signal's echo, yet equally alluring. The mystery fuels theories, with many favoring a pirate horde, as kids loot, per 1690s tales, could fit, per piracy studies, though no maps, per colonial archives confirm, per Johnson's 1724 work. Others see a naval store, as British ships, per Admiralty 1700s records, hid supplies, per maritime logs, but no artifacts per Diggs support, per Archaeology 2019. Some propose a Freemason vault, citing symbols, per 1804 claims, yet no Masonic links, per Nova Scotia records, exist, per Historical Society 2000. A few claim a natural sinkhole, but oak layers, per logs, suggest intent, per geological analysis. Others see a hoax, though early labor, per 1795 accounts, defies profit, per McGuinness's notes. The pit's emptiness, like a hidden vault, offers only wonder. The mysteries draw lies in its promise, as 1900's National Geographic stories, per archives stirred fascination. The pit resists answers, per Canadian journals, a puzzle as deep as the iron pillars shine. Diggs, per 2010's Lagina logs, found wood and metal, per field notes, but no riches. The tale, per 1990 Smithsonian, was called An Island's Lure, its resonance a call to explore. This is a dream's quiet pull, a glimpse into human hope. Clues linger in the earth. A 1866 flood, per dig logs, suggests channels, per survey data. A fiber, per museum records, matches Caribbean sources, per trade studies. A wood sample, per radiocarbon tests, dates to 1600 CE, per analysis. No tools, per site logs, were found, per excavations. The shaft, per geological maps, holds only mud, per boreholes, its secrets buried. The money pit sparks questions about buried dreams. Is it a pirate's cache or a trick of time? Its depths lie silent, guarding Oak Island's secrets. As we ponder its story, new mysteries call, their whispers rising from cryptic pages, urging us to explore further. Stonehenge beneath Lake Michigan. Imagine standing on the shore of Lake Michigan. The water laps softly at the pebbled beach, and the wind carries with it the scent of wet stone and pine. Beneath the surface of this vast freshwater sea, just 40 feet below the waves, lies something that shouldn't be there. A ring of standing stones, carefully arranged, deliberately placed, forming what some have dared to call America's Stonehenge. It was 2007 when this discovery first came to light. A team of researchers from Northwestern Michigan College was conducting a routine sonar survey of the lake floor, searching for shipwrecks, when their instruments revealed something unexpected: a circular alignment of stones, buried in darkness, eerily symmetrical, and even more unsettling, resting beside what appeared to be a carving of a mastodon, an animal that has been extinct for over 10,000 years. What exactly did they find? Was it a natural geological formation? An ancient hunting structure? Or, as some whispered in awe, evidence of a prehistoric civilization that once thrived in North America long before recorded history began? The location of the site has been kept secret, partly to protect it from looters, and partly because no one can quite explain what it is. The stones themselves rest in silence, undisturbed, their placement so precise that it stirs something deep and ancient in the human imagination. It raises questions that ripple across time. You see, there is no written history that speaks of a civilization building megalithic structures in the Great Lakes region. The indigenous peoples of North America have oral histories that stretch far back, some describing ancient floods and migrations, but no definitive records of structures like this. And yet, there the stones sit. Quiet. Still. Unexplained. Some archaeologists propose that the stones might have been used as a drive lane, an arrangement to corral large animals like mastodons during hunts. If the carving on one of the stones really does depict a mastodon, it could suggest that the formation dates back to the late Pleistocene epoch, over 10,000 years ago. That would place it among the oldest man-made structures ever found on the continent, predating Stonehenge in England and the pyramids of Egypt. But the mystery doesn't end there. Why are the stones arranged in a circle? Why are they so evenly spaced, so carefully aligned? Could it really be coincidence? Or do they point to something deeper? Perhaps a lost culture with knowledge and ritual we no longer understand? Of course, not everyone agrees. Skeptics point out that rock formations can occur naturally in circular shapes, especially under the weight and pressure of glacial movements. Others question the mastodon carving entirely, suggesting it may be a case of pareidolia, the human tendency to see familiar images and random patterns. But even these skeptics admit, it's odd. Too odd to ignore. The waters of Lake Michigan have claimed many secrets over the centuries. Shipwrecks, cargo, even entire towns have been swallowed by the tides and time. But this is different. This is ancient. This is something from a time before time. Some researchers have called for more intensive study of the site, including diving expeditions and carbon dating of nearby organic material. But for now, the mystery remains largely untouched. The stones sit in their silent circle, watched only by the fish, the currents, and perhaps, just perhaps, the echoes of a forgotten people. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much of our past still sleeps beneath the earth? How many stories have been erased by water, buried beneath the forests, or scattered by centuries of erosion? What knowledge did we once hold that has now been lost? And could there have been, thousands of years ago, humans not unlike us, standing on that very same shoreline, who carved stones, told stories by firelight, and looked up at the stars with the same wonder? Stonehenge in England draws millions each year, its mystery still intact. But beneath Lake Michigan, an American counterpart may lie waiting. Not grand or towering, but quiet and powerful in its subtlety. A whispered reminder that history isn't always written in books. Sometimes it's hidden in the mud, waiting for curious eyes and questioning minds. So next time you stand by a lake, or walk through a forest, take a moment to listen. You never know what might be buried just beneath your feet. And if you enjoy relaxing explorations of ancient puzzles like this, unexplained structures, forgotten civilizations, and histories left untold, consider subscribing to this channel. We'll continue diving into the world's most peaceful and puzzling mysteries, one stone at a time. Now close your eyes and picture it, a quiet lake. The sound of waves. A circle of stone, forgotten by time. It's still down there, waiting. Giant footprints in Indara Temple. The sun had long since turned the basalt stone to warmth when the workers, brushing sand from the temple threshold, first noticed the marks. Not modern graffiti, not a craftsman's signature, but footprints, carved deep into the very floor of the ancient Indara Temple, near modern-day Afrin in northwestern Syria. One stood at the bottom of the steps. Another, just a few strides ahead, led toward the inner sanctuary. Each one was around 1 meter long, with defined toes, arches, and weight distribution. They were not part of any path. They did not repeat or form a patterned border. They seemed deliberate, but isolated, as if left behind by a being that had passed through only once. The Indara Temple itself was no minor structure. Built around 1300 BC, during the Syro-Hittite period, it rose on a high platform, surrounded by stone lions and sphinxes. Its architecture echoed the great temples of the ancient Near East, with similarities to Solomon's temple as described in biblical texts, though Indara predates that account by several centuries. The temple's foundation was made of limestone and basalt, and much of it was once richly decorated with reliefs of mythological creatures, winged lions, griffins, mountain gods. The iconography spoke of a time when the divine was thought to walk among humans, when the boundaries between realms were blurred and temples were not only for worship but for encounter. Among the carvings, there were scenes of ritual, animals in procession, and gods standing tall. But nothing stood out quite like those footprints. One measured about 1.1 meters in length, with the second print spaced nearly 3 meters apart, as if from a massive stride. These were not stylized or symbolic motifs placed as part of a decorative program. They were specific and detailed, each toe distinct, the pressure of a heel still visible after more than 3,000 years. Their purpose has long puzzled archaeologists and historians. There are no inscriptions explaining them. No local legends tie them to a known figure. But across the ancient Near East, there was a recurring theme: the presence of gods made visible through physical traces. In some temple contexts, giant footprints were symbolic. They marked where a deity was believed to have stood or walked. They were signs of divine visitation, not unlike the footprints left by kings at some Mesopotamian shrines, emblems of power, both spiritual and earthly. But the Ain Dara prints were unusually lifelike. Unlike more abstract representations found in other sacred sites, these footprints were anatomically precise. Whoever carved them took care to reproduce natural form, size, depth, and shape. There are suggestions that they were meant to indicate the presence of a specific god, possibly Ishtar, Baal, or another deity of the Syro-Hittite pantheon. Others propose they were part of a ritual theater, perhaps meant to impress or awe visitors entering the temple courtyard. The temple itself was aligned to follow the celestial movements, and the inner sanctuary once held a sacred chamber where only priests would enter. The positioning of the footprints, outside yet moving toward the threshold, suggests a story in motion, a giant being entering the holy space, perhaps welcomed, perhaps feared. Then, the trail stops. No more footprints lead further inside. No marks on the floor of the inner chamber. Just those two, carefully carved, as though recording the moment of entry, and then, nothing. Some theories focus on their symbolic meaning, emphasizing the cultural importance of sacred footsteps in ancient iconography. Others drift toward the mythic, pointing to regional tales of giants, watchers, or sky beings, blending archaeological fact with the narratives passed through generations in hushed tones. But no tools were found nearby. No records explain who carved them or why. And unlike other monumental sculpture, these were not meant to be seen from a distance. They were experienced up close, standing beside them, feet dwarfed by the impressions in stone. In recent years, interest in Ain Dara has grown not because of extravagant design, but because of this quiet mystery. Anomalies like these challenge expectations. They slow the pace of interpretation. And they remind researchers that not all sacred acts were meant to be explained, some were carved for the gods alone. In 2018, much of the temple was damaged by conflict. Large sections of the platform and walls were destroyed. But photographs, surveys, and early documentation have preserved the footprint carvings. Even in their absence, they linger. Stone remembers. They are now part of a broader puzzle, traces of beings that don't match the scale of human presence. And while most researchers agree these footprints were symbolic, the question of why they were carved so naturally and so specifically still stirs discussion. They are not unique, but they are rare. And they lead quietly toward another mystery. Far from Syria's basalt plains, in the high mountains of Siberia and the caves of Southeast Asia, archaeologists would one day uncover fragments of a long-lost human lineage. Not gods, perhaps, but another kind of giant, the Denisovans, whose bones whisper of size, strength, and silence, and whose legacy survives in the genes of people today. But their story, like the footprints in Ayandara, begins with just a trace and a single unanswered question. Denisovan hominins, a lost human lineage. Long before borders and names, before gods were carved in stone or myths were spoken aloud, the earth belonged to many kinds of humans. Some walked in groups across the cold steppes, others climbed the forested slopes of mountains that would one day be called Altai. They left few traces. No temples. No writing. But the wind still moves through the places where they once lived, and the bones they left behind, small, broken, forgotten, are slowly speaking. The story began not with a discovery, but with a mistake. In 2008, deep within Denisova Cave in Siberia's Altai Mountains, Russian archaeologists unearthed a finger bone, no larger than a child's. It had been preserved in permafrost, protected for tens of thousands of years. At first, it was catalogued without much attention. A hominin, certainly. Likely a child. Probably Neanderthal. But DNA tells stories that bones alone cannot. When scientists analyzed the mitochondrial DNA from that tiny fragment, they found something unexpected. It did not match modern humans. Nor did it match Neanderthals. It belonged to an entirely unknown branch of the human family tree. They called this lineage the Denisovans, after the cave where their presence was found. Yet they might have called them anything. The people themselves left no name, no language, no memory, except in the molecules that make up who we are. Further discoveries followed. A tooth. Another bone. Each fragment revealed clues. The Denisovans were genetically distinct, yet closely related to both Neanderthals and modern Homo sapiens. They had interbred with both. In fact, populations today, especially in Southeast Asia, Papua New Guinea, and parts of Australia, carry up to 5% Denisovan DNA. That's more than a ghost trace. That's heritage. But the mystery is not only in their genetics. It's in what we don't know. No full Denisovan skeleton has ever been found. We don't know what they looked like. The finger bone came from a girl, young, perhaps around 13 years old. The tooth was large, robust, far too big for a modern human mouth. From DNA analysis, scientists estimate that Denisovans may have been stronger and more physically resilient than other human groups, adapted to cold climates and high altitudes. Yet their remains have appeared in the unlikeliest places. In 2019, researchers found evidence of Denisovan DNA in a jawbone discovered in Baishia Karst Cave on the Tibetan Plateau, over 3,200 meters above sea level. The jawbone, covered in calcite, was dated to at least 160,000 years ago. This was before modern humans ever reached the area. To survive at such an altitude without modern clothing or shelter suggests that Denisovans were not just survivors. They were explorers, perhaps even pioneers of places others could not yet reach. Tools, ornaments, and stone blades have been found in the same caves, yet we don't know which tools were truly theirs. Their culture, if they had one, remains invisible. Unlike Neanderthals, who left behind clear evidence of burial, art, and possibly music, the Denisovans remain quiet. No carvings. No fire pits rich with ash. No walls marked with ochre. And yet they are part of us. Modern Tibetans, for example, have a gene variant that helps them survive in low-oxygen environments at high altitudes. This adaptation didn't originate with Homo sapiens. It was inherited from Denisovans. So while their bones are rare, their impact is not. They were real. They lived, loved, hunted, and raised children. They climbed the cliffs, crossed rivers, perhaps told stories beside the fire. And when they disappeared, perhaps through interbreeding, perhaps through extinction, they left behind a memory not carried in words or monuments, but in blood. For years, Their presence was hidden beneath the surface of the human genome, invisible until technology caught up with the mystery. And even now, every new find, a molar in Laos, a bit of DNA in Indonesia, expands the borders of their world. Denisovans were not a forgotten people. They were never known. But their shadows are long. And like the giant footprints at Indara, their traces raise more questions than they answer. Why did they vanish? How far did they travel? What knowledge did they hold, passed through gesture and voice, now lost to time? Their silence is not absence. It is a presence waiting to be understood. And the earth holds more such silences. In deserts where rain has not fallen for centuries, beneath shifting sands and broken tablets, there are structures built by hands we do not recognize. Names carved in scripts we still cannot read. And in the valley of Oman, among the stone circles and collapsed towers, lies a forgotten city, Ubar, once called Atlantis of the Sands, now just another mystery waiting for its voice to return. Ubar, the lost city of the Arabian desert. The desert has a way of keeping secrets. Its wind smooths away the edges of time, erasing roads, swallowing walls. Cities that once stood proud, filled with the sounds of trade and laughter, vanish beneath dunes, remembered only in whispers. One such whisper echoes through the southern deserts of Oman. The locals call it Ubar. For centuries, Ubar was a legend, a place spoken of in ancient texts, where towers reached toward the sky and riches flowed like water. Some called it Iram of the Pillars, mentioned in the Quran as a city punished for its arrogance. Others claimed it was a prosperous trading post, a hub along the fabled incense route, where caravans once passed bearing frankincense, gold, and myrrh. The truth, like the desert, remained elusive. In the early 1990s, satellite imagery revealed something unusual in the Rub al-Khali, the empty quarter, one of the largest sand deserts in the world. Subtle traces of old caravan trails converged at a point long forgotten by maps. Beneath the sand, faint outlines of structures emerged, walls, possibly towers, perhaps even a fortress. An expedition followed. Archaeologists and local Bedouin trekked into the harsh, wind-swept terrain, arriving at a place known as Shizr. There, buried under centuries of sand, they found the remains of an ancient settlement. Stone blocks, parts of a collapsed tower, and a deep sinkhole, suggesting an underground water source that might once have supported life. The team declared the site Ubar, the lost city, found at last. But even as the world celebrated, questions remained. What was Ubar? A city? A fort? A caravanserai? Some scholars believed it had never been a grand metropolis, but rather a crucial checkpoint on the incense trade route, strategically placed at an oasis where water was available and goods could be taxed or stored. Its collapse, perhaps, was not due to divine punishment but to something far more earthly. The sinkhole beneath the ruins told a quiet story. At some point in the past, the underground limestone cavern that supported the city collapsed, swallowing buildings and infrastructure. Without water, the settlement could not survive. The people left. The desert returned. Still, the legend endured. Long before the satellite photos and academic papers, Bedouin elders spoke of a city buried in the sands. Western explorers, too, chased the myth. T. Lawrence, known as Lawrence of Arabia, believed Ubar might be the Arabian version of Atlantis, a place lost not to the sea, but to sand. In his writings he referred to it as the Atlantis of the Sands, a term that stuck, even as facts shifted and interpretations changed. What makes Ubar so compelling is not just the possibility of its ruins, it's the layers of memory wrapped around it. The incense that passed through its gates, frankincense harvested from boswellia trees, was once as valuable as gold. Priests burned it in Egyptian temples. Roman emperors imported it by the ton, Trade routes stretched for hundreds of miles, from Yemen to the Mediterranean. The wealth generated by this trade built cities, funded kingdoms, and perhaps, at least for a while, gave rise to Yubar. The towers of Iram, the proud city mentioned in ancient verses, may never have stood exactly as imagined. But something real stood at Shizr. Something important enough to be remembered long after it vanished. And then there's the broader pattern. Across the world, lost cities linger at the edge of memory. Not just Yubar, but Z, the mythical city deep in the Amazon. Not just Iram, but Heracleion, once a bustling Egyptian port now resting beneath the sea. The world forgets, then remembers, then forgets again. Yubar, in the end, may not have been a capital of empires. But it was a crossroads, between myth and trade, history and belief, water and sand. And in that fragile balance, it thrived, until the earth beneath it gave way. Today, visitors to Shizr see broken stones, a pit, and outlines that hint at former grandeur. But what they truly encounter is something else, a pause in the endless rhythm of sand and silence. A place where the past still breathes, if only faintly. From the fingerprints left in a cave in Siberia to the fallen stones of a desert fort, history speaks in fragments. And each mystery, each whisper from long ago, leads to another. For buried in the earth, just beneath the silence, our story's still waiting. And so, the journey continues, to the disappearance of the Anasazi, a people who once built towering cliff dwellings, only to vanish, leaving behind stone cities that watch the sky in silence. The disappearance of the Anasazi. The dry mesas and steep canyons of the American Southwest hold the ruins of a people long gone. The Anasazi, or ancestral Puebloans, once thrived here, building intricate cliff dwellings carved into the very rock. Places like Mesa Verde, Canyon de Chelly, and Chaco Canyon. These were no simple shelters. They were cities in stone, aligned with the movements of the sun and stars. Generations lived, farmed, worshipped, and raised children among these high walls and desert winds. And then they left. Somewhere around the late 13th century, they abandoned their homes. The great dwellings were left silent, pottery unbroken, fires extinguished. No single explanation fits neatly. Perhaps a drought, a long, unrelenting one, forced migration. Perhaps resource pressure or social upheaval. Maybe even spiritual reasons lost to time. But they didn't vanish entirely. Their descendants live on, among the Hopi, the Zuni, and other Puebloan peoples. The memory continues, not only in stone but in song, tradition, and story. And in the silence of their cliff homes, we feel something else. Not just the absence of people, but the presence of their time. As we close this journey through ancient mysteries, we are left with more than unsolved questions. We are left with a sense of awe. A feeling that behind the ruins, the footprints, the vanished maps, and forgotten names, there was once life, ordinary, sacred, thriving life. These are not just puzzles to solve. They are reminders of how much has come before us, and how much we still don't understand. If you've listened this far, thank you for joining this quiet walk through the lost corners of history. And if your eyes grow heavy now, that's okay. Let the voices of the past carry you gently to rest. We'll meet again, in another story. Somewhere beneath the sand, the sea, or the stars. Good night.